Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, few hundred years back, there was no kind of subject called meditation. It's mostly because people had the capacity to understand their sensory object and sensory experience, and they able to maintain their life, and they able to see and understand and go through the consequences regarding the situations in day-to-day life. But by the time what happened, we able to become more material, and through this material comfort, we mostly start to develop the comfort, but at the same time, even though we had that comfort, we became lack of understanding, or we lose the awareness. Remember the word called awareness. Later we're going to discuss about it. But we have to understand what happened on the way, what happened to the awareness. Because we lost in the comfort. If anybody, you can lost them when you give too much comfort. People lost their mind. That's why sometimes when they want to get something done from some other people, sometimes from your friends, from someone, so maybe you invite for dinner, you take for lunch, and you make them comfortable. So when they comfort, in the comfort zone, what happening, they lost their awareness. It happened to entire humanity. But with this pandemic situation, people able to little bit, start to look. And mostly we used to see as a luxurious life with the material and comfort and the branded names. So people thought that when you walk into very expensive shopping mall or the luxurious, very branded mall or the shops, and when you have very expensive or the branded bags, handbags, shoes, clothes, people thought it is a luxurious life. But now we understand the breathing is more luxurious than anything else. Life is more luxurious than anything else. Even without a mask, seeing a face to face, just seeing a person, during this time period, and even that I was uh, thought about, see, nowadays it is very difficult to see a person, naturally. And as you know, we had a ceremony and everybody wearing a mask, and I was wondering, this see what we missing. And seeing a real face naturally is a very luxurious now. And even in as a family, when you gather each other, it's luxurious. And hugging a person, handshaking is luxurious, you know. So it's kind of like we completely come to a different dimension, and we come to a different level of understanding now. What is we missing, and why we miss that all, and also how we lost these things. We had this all, but we didn't see that much, value because of the material comfort. So you cannot blame to that. But the thing is, the most important thing is, on the way with this material comfort, as I mentioned, we lost our awareness. And that awareness is mostly regarding not the outside world, because when you look at the world, people able to conquer the universe, even we able to go beyond our solar system, and people dreaming and planning to go to other planets and live there. So then that's mean we develop kind of like awareness. But the thing is, what we losing self-awareness. So this self-awareness is the most important part that the Buddha himself declared. So as you know, the when it come to conventional life, that we had the history, it's called, the golden rush. Why it called golden rush? Wherever the gold, people able to rush, go towards that way. During Buddha's time, there was the rush, that the awareness rush, that wherever the Buddha, everybody used to go towards that. And with this pandemic situation, again, what happened, people kind of like a way start to rush towards the awareness. Now everybody start to look into it. So then it is very important for us to go little bit to see the deeper and see that what is this and how this happened, and what is this awareness, from where it come, where it take us, why people so fascinated about it, why people like it, and why people so comfort with the awareness. And it is within ourselves, but we cannot find it sometimes. And but everybody talk about awareness. So when it come to life, that this aware the self, first we have to understand what is self. The self is the matter has power to reproduct itself, called self. Remember that. The matter has power to reproduct itself is called self. It is a one interpretation. Even in the scientifically also, it's accepted. Another thing is that the matter has reproduct itself or duplicate itself. That duplication, power of duplication, detachment coming from, it's like a so one become two. This transformation, to happen this transformation, it need a kind of like energy. That energy called mind. So then, so whatever transform to duplicate, it doesn't become self. There is a certain kind of cell. There is a certain kind of energy has power itself, independently has power to duplicate itself, the matter. And to duplicate that matter, it has a current create inside it. It has its own awareness. That's called self-awareness. So when the mind and the matter come together, it creates the energy inside it to duplicate itself, called self. The matter has power to duplicate itself. That duplicate power, the separation power, is, is the mind. So when these two things come together, mind and matter, and this duplicate it and reproduct itself, or that develop one thing to two, this mind and matter develop one thing to two, break down one thing to two, is called self. This nature, this pattern, the mind and matter duplicate and the reproduct itself and separate and rebuild itself. And when this go again and again, again and again, again and again, it called culture. So only the human can develop this kind of culture. No any other animals can do it. No, that the kind of like other cell. So when it comes to the human being, they are the one who can develop it and reproduct it and develop it, reproduct it in a kind of like a becoming advanced, not other animals. That's why the human life is so important. Remember that. That's why you have to be a human to attain to enlightenment, because that reproductive process can uplift your awareness, or the the development of the process itself make you a better person or the advanced person. When you look at the human history, generations to generation become completely different and become advanced. No any other animal behave like that way. As example, chicken. If the chickens became more advanced generations to generations, by now in this planet no any human beings. Why? Because then they come against and destroy all the human beings. Look at, for a day, how many chickens die killed by human. And how about the cows? If the cows generations to generation become advanced, there today you and me know in this planet. But only the human being, this cell has the special power. No any other cell can do that. What is that? When it reproduct, when it duplicate, it become advanced. So that's why we call the mental culture, because moment by moment, thought by thought, it can develop your mind. So when it come to the self, the very nature of the self with the mind and matter, it has power to duplicate. Another thing is, it has a special power when it duplicate, when it separate from the first one. What is that? It has power to recognize something itself in that very moment. So that is it's like this. So as example, there is a train come. So newly born, well conscious person, that means complete, that human being just keep in the middle of the railway track. So the train come now. It's a huge piece of iron, thousand tons heavy iron. So this human being, you just place on the human cell, you place on the middle of the railway track. By seeing, if the human being able to recognize the train, see the train, that means if his eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind work properly and without disturbing from the past or the future, and that means he is in the present moment. If the human being able to be in the present moment, without knowing anything about the train, or without any guidelines, or without listening to anybody, by seeing the train, this human being can understand if that train hit it, that the human being going to die. That is called self-awareness, because it happened in that very moment. It not coming that mostly we think, oh, we have to learn. That is the very wrong understanding when it come to this subject. We always think, oh, we have to learn, we have to learn, we have to get it from somebody. No, there is something in you. Before you learn that, there is something. Even you learn, how you going to recognize it as something if there is nothing in you? So the tapping to that what is inside you is the art of practice of the meditation. But what is inside you called self-awareness. Even it has, even in a one cell, that, see, look at in this human body, how many cells? Even if you separate this one cell, that one cell has a kind of like a something independently can react. So it like this. When you put a drop of water in the middle of the jungle, that drop of water has power, energy to find out through the gravity and where the ocean. It has power to find out. No any irrigation, no any map or the guidelines to tell go this way. So same like in your body, the each and every cell has a power to independently recognize. That is what called self-awareness. Cell independently can react, select and react. And that is where it comes self-awareness. So as example, when it comes to the beginning of life, see how the sperm can enter to the mother's womb. One cell. See that, as you know, there is a documentary called Sperm Race. So trillion, million cells independently run, and not only running. It is very interesting. It is kind of like a huge war, pushing each other, and somebody and give up, and somebody get mad, and somebody becoming so strong, energized, and try to find a way throwing others each other. So how that one cell? So like that, you have in the beginning of life also, you have independently stand and select yourself. So that is the beginning of the self-awareness. Each and every cell has a freedom and power to independently react. And not only react, it has power to reasoning, judging, question, and also communicate. That is the second breakthrough. So the first breakthrough, that it has power to stand itself, take decisions itself. And the second one is it has power to communicate. So that's why when one cell, so remember that in the beginning I mentioned the mind matter, when the mind and matter come together, it start to duplicate, separate, reproduct, become two, two become four, four become eight, so like that. And then not only that, it has power to communicate. So then each and every cell, even the trillion cells in you, it has power to communicate each other. So that when this entire communication network come to a one decision, that is what called self-awareness. So as example, one, two, three, four, five people. Just imagine five cells here. So if the one cell start to look this way, if the one cell start to look this way, if the one cell start to look down, if the one cell start to look another, so these five cells start to look different ways. And then what will happen? Still it exists, but it doesn't have create any kind of power to, to become one. So how about this all five start to communicate each other and focus to one thing? And that is what called the self-awareness. So when your entire system focus to one thing, communicate each other, focus to one thing and stay in that one thing, is called samadhi. Settle down. Why? Because nothing go anywhere, nothing get disturbed, no communication in any other way, and it start to settle down with one thing. It settled down with one thing, not because of the command from outside, not because of the command or the behavior of something else. Why? Because it has a power to communicate each other itself. So that is how the self-awareness develops. And the thing is this, when you develop this self-awareness, how you can recognize what is the power come out of the self-awareness. So the self, when you have the self-awareness, no fear, you are become totally free. The freedom is the sign for the self-awareness, freedom. So when you are not free, that's mean when you are not self-aware, you are not free. When you are not free, there is fear. So there is a way like uh, if the monk attain to enlightenment or not, how sometimes they find. If the monk or the person not afraid for anything, no, not afraid for anything, sometimes they guess, are you enlightened? So that's mean when you are become totally free, there's no fear. But if there is fear, that's mean you are not aware and you are not free. So the mostly the all other the living beings has four qualities that hold it to ahara, nidra, bhayamanda. Ahara means food, the food circle, all you depending from food. And the nidra means the rest or the sleep. Bhaya means the fear. And by maitunancha means reproduct itself happening, reproduct. It is not a kind of like a, you know, you consciously involving and doing it. No, itself happening. Even it happened to human also. There are some people, in dreams they reproduct. Why? Because it is in system. So that's why when you try to go towards the enlightenment, you don't go that way. You cut down the food, and you mostly cut down the sleeping pattern, and it's called jagara yoga. You cut down the sleeping patterns and the fear, and it's slow, because when the clarity comes, there is no fear. And the reproducting, you're not involved with that. So why? Because these four things, four qualities, it's always reduce the self-awareness. It always block the self-awareness or the freedom. It blocks the freedom. So look at the food. Even the government overnight can change when it comes to food. So it is that much powerful. So it like that. We are bound to that. That's why when you become sannyasi, the one of the main quality, they don't care about the food. So whatever they go, whatever they receive or whatever they find on the way, they just depending on from that. But how about the people? One meal miss, it kind of like for some people, it kind of like a end of the world. You know, they become so crazy if one meal miss. Even you somebody, you know, prepare your plate and means maybe suddenly somebody else eat half of that, and you get so mad about it. So like that. So somehow that we bound to that. And there is a deeper science. Science is not a one subject. It belong to this, you know, or psychology or the medicine or technology. No, science is the way you study about the wisdom called science. So it actually the word coming from the wisdom, the Sanskrit word, vidya. So the wisdom or the vidya is became wisdom, and it's called the science. So the vidya, another way it became vidya, video, video. So now we call video. The video also came out of the word called wisdom. Why? Because it giving you the science. Science means the truth. That is the very simple definition of the science, the art of the truth. So the video means the itself the vidya. That's mean wisdom. It should bring you kind of like a wisdom. But today, look what happened. It is completely opposite side. But somehow, so the what is happening, we have inner wisdom, inner science. What is that inner science? That inner science means if you able to communicate within yourself without getting disturbed from outside, that is the moment you fulfill your self-awareness. So when you completely become independent in the moment without even from the past or the future or even the knowledge exists from outside, and you have become independent in the moment, in that moment you become free. That is what people are looking for, because we are not experiencing that deeply ourselves. Why? Because we don't develop it inside. We always depending from things outside or the with the material, and sometimes even you have no time. Even we have 24 hours you have for a day, you have no time, even one single second yourself to be like that. That's why in the beginning it called be silence. Find a way to find be silence. When you become silence, that is the very first step. It's kind of like you detach, you disconnect from other things, and you allow to communicate happen within yourself, and then come to a one point. And when you are come to a one point, as I mentioned, that entire yourself, so what is happening is start to focus to one thing, communicating each other. So that way, that communication not going to go here and there or pass to the future. So when you come to a one point of that awareness, you completely become free. When you become free, totally free, in that very moment, you totally become out of the fear. You become out of the fear. When you come out of the fear, there is no doubt, there is no hatred, there is no anger, there is no jealousy, it's nothing. That is where you become completely purified. So when you are completely become purified, in that very moment you have ability, you have capability, you have strength to go beyond the sense. And that is the enlightenment science. Go beyond the sense. So when you can get it only by getting connect to entire all the cells together into one communication network. If in case, if one cell, imagine, forget about trillion cells, just imagine 100 cells you have in your body. All the 99 cells and start to focus to one thing, but if one cell start to go away, you cannot attain to enlightenment. It's not going to happen. You're not going to complete that awareness. Why? Because the one cell mean it is a kind of like, it has power to create a hundreds lives. It is so powerful. One cell. See, even this, the virus, it can one can come and kill a person, and it has power to reproduce. So how about when it come to mind and matter? They both has in this one cell. So if you all the 100 cells come together and stay focused and have the communication to one thing, what is happening? It has power to go beyond the, the senses. When you have ability to go beyond the senses, that is where your transformation happens. And if that is, you cannot understand by words, and that is you have to experience. That's why self-awareness, you have to take it to the self experience to have the self transformation. So that transformation we call the nibbana. But the thing is, because of the comfort, and we lost that communication even within ourselves. So then it is your responsibility, no matter what, keep that communication within you. Why? I give you a secret. Because when you have that, the communication within yourself, without any sign, without any indication, without any information, you can survive by yourself. At least in conventional life. Without anybody's knowledge, you can survive. In the ancient time, people had that knowledge even. But we, mostly after the World War, we lost that also. That's why as a subject, now we practice meditation. So now you see, we lost, and because of the many reasons, we lost that our ability even to maintain our life without books. And how much we lost that. Even the mothers now need to read books to how to take care of children. See, it's even the mothers, even the parents need advice to how to take care of children. That much we lost our self-awareness. Forget about enlightenment. So then Still, remember, it is inside you. So we just get lost from this outside with the outside world, but by practicing like this way, or giving your time a little bit, and with the understanding, and you can get back to that. It is possible. So give a try. It is a, as a human being, it is a beautiful journey that you can experience and you can share, and that experience, if you are able to get as a human being before you die, that is the highest experience that you can gain. And from that moment, you will fulfill this journey of humanity. So, with that, I bless upon everyone. With this good practice, may all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha mehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Yes.